Hi, everybody. It's Michael and Julie again from Solas Inspirational Chats. And today we're talking with our good friend Dave Mahoney, who knows what the sun looks like because he's in Spain, an Irishman abroad, originally from Kinsale, and enjoying the good life on the continent. And we thought, he's an entrepreneur, he's big into health and well-being for the collective, and we thought we'd like to have a chat with him. We saw him back in January in Malaga, and we had a lovely time with him. And how are you doing, Dave?
Was it that long ago? January already?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It was
thought
a sunny day but
the
cold,
sun looked
wasn't it? It was a sunny day but cold, and we had a great lunch on the beach there, didn't we? It was a nice day. Well, great to see you again, you two. Two of my favorite people. I don't see that often, but we're always exchanging messages. I'm watching what you're doing online.
Yeah, and vice versa. Like we watch you and the interviews you do, and yeah, there's been some interesting ones since we last saw you. So yeah, no, it's great. And coming up to Patrick's Day, being an Irishman and looking back over the water, so to speak.
Yeah.
How do you view Ireland from where you are at the moment?
Well, it's always my home country. You know what? So my background, just for the sake of the audience, is I was born in the UK and left when I was 7, 8, the summer when I just turned 7 or 8, and then spent the rest of my youth, I would call it, an education in Ireland. So down in the south in Cork, there's a very famous town called Kinsale, and I was so privileged to have being raised in that place because I didn't realize at the time how much crack it was and what an education curve. Because there's nothing like the banter and the crack with the Irish, because not only is it good fun, but it really puts hair on your chest, I would say, as a man, Michael, because you got to be able to give it and take it. And how many people are often giving out the slagging and the banter, and as soon as you say something funny back, they get the right ass up. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, I absolutely love Ireland. Now, I've been watching it change dramatically in more recent years, and since sort of March 2020, we know what happened. But as of late, even more so, with seriously shaking my head, but then again, a smile, because I've seen there's been a big surge of people that are pro-Irish, that this is what we want. This is our culture. This is our music. This is our language. This is our everything. And they've really been stepping up to it, I think, because Irish people, I think, are placid, but you push them too far and then they'll snap. And they also have a very long memory, the Irish. You don't really want to piss an Irish guy off because he'll never forget it.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that. I've got a few stories down tucked away, which I won't get into. But I'm very sad to see how it got so diluted. Let's put it that way. But I'm also excited to see where the future is going, because I can see there's a huge surge, especially on the female side, Julia. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely. Yes, Dave. And it's lovely to see you. Banachty lo éile póric gut. That's the
oh,
blessings of St. Patrick to you.
Rami Hamahalu.
Oh, the Vulture Road, Mahu, sure, the Cork men, they're mighty. But yeah, as you say, Manona here, and they're certainly rising up now. And Michael and I would liaise with some pretty powerful women who are trying to inspire change. And as you said, Dave, I think Irish people are now saying enough is enough. So it's up to the Irish people to create change. And I think we're all responsible. We're all sovereign beings. And if we want to be truly authentic and channel our Christ consciousness, yes, let's rise up and let's co-create a better society for everyone. And I was sorry,
Yeah,
Dave, that you didn't make it over for St. Bridget's Day. We were
you
hoping
know,
to see
I
you
was
because
ready.
it was
I was ready,
great.
but I explained it. I've got your gift that you gave me. I really love this, Julia. Thank you. It's St.
Oh,
Bridget's
no, of
brooch.
course
I've
you're
got it
right.
on my desk ready because I've got a green top. We're recording this a few days before St. Patrick's Day, but I'll tell you this, I love it. My
Oh,
little
that's
St. Bridget's.
great. So go full road. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Michael and I would have a great devotion to Bridget, and it's marvelous too. For us, it's the rise of the divine feminine. So we've had Patrick for years, but now it's time for Monona here. We often say the women are monosome. They're awesome,
And awesome, that's good, isn't it?
especially when there's something that sticks in their craw and they're not happy with it. And whatever you say, Dave, about men having a memory, women certainly remember things that are going wrong or that went wrong and then seek justice. So it's time for change. And I think with our diaspora, what are we, 70 or 80 million around the globe? There is a lot
Yeah.
of support for people because it's always going to be the homeland and they want the best for this little island. and everywhere will be painting their national cities green for the 17th. So we're very proud to be Irish, and we know you are too.
Absolutely. You know, I'm lucky enough to have dual nationality, but I never get that English passport out. It's always, and that now you got the card, it's so convenient. But you know, and the difference, I've tested it so many times over the years. Nothing against English people. I've got tons of English friends that, you know, I hang out with them every day. I'm with English people, but it's the difference you get as a reception when you say you're Irish. Even when I've been in Spain now 30 years, and the difference you get when you say, oh, you know, they're so warm to you and friendly and nice to you, because we have such a reputation for being open and friendly and forgiving and welcoming. And I find the Spanish, you got a very similar sense of family and sense of God. Actually, we talked about Christ consciousness and that spirit of, okay, you know, do what's best, do the best thing for you. And that's what I find more important than anything, is being able to follow your heart and understand that spirit inside you, that the flowing divine feeling that's guiding you. You've got to be able to tune into it and act accordingly. So, you know, the minute you veer off that track, how many times have you done it in your youth when you're be all right, and it's not, it goes wrong. Yeah. So I love that about the Irish and how resilient they are, determined. And even if they do spread to all corners of the globe, which they are, there's an Irish pub in every city in the world. You know, you'll always have a warm welcome when you walk in there. There'll always be a pint on the bar, and after about 5 minutes, you'll find that you feel like you know everybody in there. So it is a culture that has somehow penetrated the consciousness of every other nationality that they have intertwined with or interacted with, because they don't move to a country and sort of, you know, start building all their own neighborhoods and all their own music. They integrate, they get in with the culture, you know, Irish American culture, the Irish Australian culture, even the Anglo-Irish of recent years. I wouldn't say that we're going to go back to Victorian times or even before, but, you know, of recently, there is no more stigma about being Irish in the UK. And in fact, it was voted one of the most popular accents recently, you know, an Irish accent. The girls like it.
Oh, they do, yes. Yeah, I've experienced that in the past. Before I was married.
I was going to say, don't say anything now that you'd be sleeping on the sofa, Michael.
Yes, yeah.
Or he'll have to go over and live with you, Dave.
Yeah, geez, that wouldn't be a bad thing, Dave.
No, I love that Irish
together, Jane, Mac.
I love that part of me, because I find the stubbornness, you know, during the March 2020 period. It was, you know, they tell you to do one thing. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. You can feck off. I'm not doing that. Yeah. So yeah, being Irish has certainly helped me. And I think growing up in Ireland, the mental training, just about not accepting what the rules should be, just because you've got some man pointing over there and say, you need to stay at that side of the road. You say, I know, I don't like that side of the road at all. There's no sun over there. I'm going to go over here, like. To just put it in a simple term. So my Patrick's Day is going to be interesting. I've already told several people that I'm quitting my day early. It's a Tuesday, so I'm going to take that Tuesday off recording. And we've already got the list of the route planned out. So, and I'm sure the crack will be great.
Super.
Yeah, we're the same. Now, can you do me a favor, Dave? Can you send some sunshine here for
definitely.
No, I couldn't afford that.
We'll pay you.
Isn't enough? This big smile and this happy person. You're always wanting.
You certainly have the gift of the gab, Dave. You never lost it, boy.
Yeah, I think you probably kick a stone from Blarney, where, you know, the Blarney Stone. I don't know if your audience know about that, but there's a castle just outside of Cork. There's a famous stone. If you kiss the stone and you hang you upside down, you get the gift of the gab. So I've been up there a few times, obviously.
Yes, you have. I say, all right, yeah.
Licked it a few times. Yeah. But also, Dave, something else that we chatted to you about. We now go back to the name Éire. We don't call our country Ireland, because that was the land that was the name given by the English, which means anger, Ireland. So we go back to the goddess Éire, who named Éire, and we often speak of it, and we even try and use the cúpla focal, because we find now in the collective consciousness, people are saying, well, who are we? So we have our own national language, so let's start using it. And yes, now we talk about Éire when we're engaging with people, because it's like we're accepting and honoring our Celtic heritage, which is fantastic and so well known all around the world too.
Yeah, and another thing, Dave, which you'll find of interest is, in English, we have spelling, so you have to, your words are spells.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist in the Irish language.
Incantations. I noticed it tonight when we started talking, and of course, it's on your Irish passport. It has Éire with a harp on it on the front
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
Absolutely.
it's something. I think that's a really nice touch. I think just to drop that into when we are talking about home, just to say Éire, because it's kind of a bit of a code as well, and only the real paddies would get it, really, wouldn't we? So who are you
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah,
So I
yeah.
like that. I start using that.
I get a bit peeved when you go in to fill out a form and you give them what country you're in and you go down along and there is no area on the list. It's always Ireland, and you sort of go, hang on a second, type area in, and of course it's not accepted. So it's important, but there's a lot of people getting back into speaking the Irish language. My children are all, and grandchildren are all educated through Irish. And
Hmm.
they would use Irish at home, and when they're out with their friends, they speak in Irish. So there is definitely a collective urge to get back to our culture and our heritage. And these woke people and the Eurocrats who are trying to sort of put multiculturalism on us and all the rest of it. But that's putting the bee on, what is it, the bee in the bonnet. It's really irking Irish people, and they're starting to stand up, and I'm delighted to see it.
Yes, no, it is. It is more.
Me,
Yes.
me too, because I don't think people realize that the the impact. I'm being careful with the words I choose, because, for example, when they had to accommodate a lot of these new arrivals, they were using hotel rooms and guest houses that are normally occupied by visitors to Éire.
Yeah,
So we've got a lot of descendants coming back, Killarney, Tralee, all these famous places. And now you go there and you can't get a room, you can't get a hotel room or accommodation because
yeah,
they're all filled with these really kind of unwanted guests.
Yes.
yeah,
So, and they are deliberately ruining it. I don't think it's by accident. I think it's a deliberate plan. And one of my personal theories is I think the Irish bloodline is one of the purest that's still around, apart from Basque. And actually, there's a lot of Basque bloodline in Éire.
yeah. But they're
They,
connected. They're both the Celts. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, the Bay of Biscay, they were trading partners, similar musical instruments, very similar musical sounds. So Basque has been genetically tested, and the ones that are coming in very close to it is the Irish.
yeah,
So I think it's a deliberate attempt to get that fighting Irish, stubborn, you're not doing that, I'm not listening to you, because everybody else really just complied and laid down.
yeah,
Okay, here's the Pied Piper. We're putting it through the television. Listen to the music. All the rats will follow. But there's something in our genetic DNA which is like, hang on now a second, this just smells of bullshit, like.
yeah,
And, I'm not saying everybody, but now this huge sudden, because during those days, a lot of people complied, but now they see the writing on the wall, they see the truth, they see the people around them, they see the effects of what was happening by this band of merry men coming out of Brussels and Davos, and they're saying, hang on a second now, this isn't something I want my children to be around anymore. So it's actually a great thing, this, the re-immersing inside the culture that you've always been around. But my culture, I'm 55 coming up, we had it, and we had it at school. I mean, I still remember a lot of my Gaelic, unwill cudagam dolamach mar shere holly, can I go outside to the bathroom and milk and water and all these basic words that we had to sort
yeah,
of remember, and please and thank you. But nobody was interested in learning it because it wasn't cool in the 80s. But now I think this is a great thing, and people really are, because come on, if you're immersed in it all the time, you're in Ireland. But walking into an Irish pub for the first time and seeing three or four fellas down there with a bodhrán and a fiddle and and a guitar and a pints are flowing. I mean, you tell me another place in the world that you can go and just see that, three guys on a Wednesday afternoon doing that. You
no,
can't.
no,
And it's that God-given gifts that burns inside their soul, and they're not looking for appreciation or rounds of applause and saying, "Oh, Jesus, you're amazing." They couldn't give a monkeys, and half the time you can't understand them. If you, especially down in Kerry and places, you're like, you can't understand what they're saying, but you understand the music, and that music, that Celtic music, it makes people cry. They don't even know what they're singing about, but anybody that sits in that pub, it moves their souls so much. They'll never ever forget that experience in Ireland, in Éire. And that's what I love about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, thanks,
yeah.
Dave. I think we chatted to you about a book we discovered called Ireland, Land of the Pharaohs. And I must put the
Oh,
link
yeah.
description underneath. And it says that the two races closest to the divine source were the Irish and the Native Americans. And that's why the powers that be, the dark matrix, tried to destroy them. So
Yeah.
when I read that book, I found it fascinating, and we can certainly give it to our viewers. We got it for free, so we can send on the free download. But it certainly made a lot of sense to us why the Irish were always so oppressed. And as you say, though, they have this fantastic resilience, this fantastic faith also, because before Patrick came, there was the belief in the matriarchal God, the divine feminine, because she was Mother Earth, she was the creator. So they've always had a belief in a higher power, a being that looks after them, that nurtures them, that cares for them. And I think for that reason, we've always tried to respect our fellow being and then honor our higher selves. So yes, it is. As Michael and I have said, and we know you are also, we're very proud to be Irish for these reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say something. You said that about the land of the Pharaohs. Well, and again, for the sake of the viewers, if you don't believe us about this story of the being connected to Egypt, all you've got to do is look up Scota and Scota's grave down in just outside Dingaling, down in Kerry. There is an Egyptian princess buried, and it's marked by the government as Scota's grave. And the story goes right back to Akhenaten and Nefertiti. She was their daughter in 1830 BC. I've studied this. I've followed that story all the way back to Egypt 4 times. And it's absolutely fascinating. And she went to Scotland, and it was such a dramatic impact on the warring tribes of Scotland. They named the entire country Scotland after this Egyptian princess, and Nova Scotia, descendants of Scota.
Yeah.
So, and it goes to the Hill of Tara, back to that area, all the High Kings of Ireland. I mean, there's so much history there that they're trying to just sweep under the carpet and get rid of, because I don't really think they want to know the power the Irish people have.
Yeah.
Because we're like magicians, what do you call them? You know, you're talking about spells, but the Irish, when they tell a story, they can bring you into the story.
Yeah.
You put a fireplace in there and the right sort of lighting and a couple of drinks on the bar. You know, the way that they go about this, there's no other race that I've ever encountered that's as good as it. Perhaps the Native American Indians, which have a slightly similar way about them, when they're passing down stories and legends and history from father to son to daughter to mother. That would be similar, I imagine, but the power that these in Spanish they son encantador, it's like a magician, an enchanter. There you go. They have this enchanting power about them to bring you into the story. And the Irish all do it. We do it to each other. My friend was doing it to me. I tell you what, then, and then you never guess what happened next.
Yeah.
And you get drawn in, and there's usually a punchline that you don't see coming.
And it'll be grand. Everything's grand, you know.
Yeah.
Listen, Dave, thank you so much for your time. We're aware that people have a day to celebrate today on St. Patrick's Day.
A long time listening to this on St. Patrick's Day, but I'm sure they will be tuning in again, because it's always a pleasure to listen to you. You certainly have the gift of the gab. There's a cake for you, and when you come here, we will have another barbecue like we had the last time. And I want to mention, Dave, we were so blessed to know Hoona Flash, and that was the time we had the barbecue, and you were at our house here in Arklow, and that was such a special time because we didn't think we'd lose him so soon after that. So
yeah, you know, this is a good lesson there for everybody. Appreciate the people around you, and always make sure that you treat them that it is the last day. You know what? The loved ones in my life, I treat them like that. You never know what's going to happen. I always tell the people I love you. Even my ex, I was telling, I love you. I stopped saying that. No, I do. I love you. She's up in Seville, so I always make sure she knows that I'm still there, tuned in. And happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Whatever you're doing, spend it memorably, and get round some Irish bars if you're not in and back in Éire or anywhere else you're on the world. But get round your family, get round your fellow-minded people, and recharge that Irish soul of yours, and share your stories and wisdom with the people around you. Have some crack and have a few pints.
Oh,
nothing wrong with that.
They will, and we will. And listen, Dave,
We'll
we'll talk to you very soon.